Hey everybody, my name is Nadira Taylor and I am the principal broker of Diamond Mine Real Estate. We're based in New York with offices in Georgia and California. I'm here with one of my clients who closed using the Naca program, Latricia. And what we're going to do is we're going to have her introduce herself and we're going to walk you through her process of becoming Naca qualified and actually purchasing a house with Naca being non-priority. Hey Latricia.
Hi Nadira, thanks for having me. Hello everyone, my name is Latricia Thompson. I purchased through the Naca program and closed in July 2021 in Suffolk County, New York.
Okay, so like I said, so you were non-priority.
Yes.
And with you, Naca had just changed the rules and we were racing to get you in contract by June 1st. We was definitely successful.
Yes.
I think that you did credit access or bank application like May 30th.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so what that means for everyone who is currently doing Naca, June 1st, 2021, Naca had changed their rules. And with that is at one point, everyone was able to get the same low interest rate. But now there's two different interest rates. There's the lowest one and there's the highest one. Mm-hmm. So the lowest one as of right now today is 2.625%. The highest one is 3.625%. So if you are considered to be non-priority, meaning that you make more than the MSA or the track median income, then you will start off at the higher interest rate. If you make the track median income or below, you start off at the lower interest rate. Mm-hmm. Or even if you are a non-priority member, but you're purchasing in a priority area, then at that point you start off at the lower interest rate. So with Latricia, we was able to get her in contract in time. Yes. Because she is a non-priority member.
Yes, correct.
So in essence, it's like, you know, we work hard, we get our bonuses, our advancements, and we strive to get up the corporate ladder. Mm-hmm. But in hindsight, it'll, you know, when it comes to Naca, it'll kind of work against you sometimes.
Yes, it could be a gift and a curse for sure.
Okay, so you purchased in Suffolk County.
Yes.
Now, you going through the Naca program, you're like a gem because you didn't have the same struggles that a lot of people have when it came to qualification.
That's true.
How soon were you qualified?
I qualified within 3 months. I did the workshop in July. My first intake was in September of 2020, and I qualified in December of 2020. Now, keep in mind, when I did the workshop in January, you really have to pay attention to the workbook and take a look at what they're looking for and apply that to what your situation is now. So even though my appointment was 9 months out, I used that 9 months to get all my paperwork in line. So by the time I had my intake, I was ready to go and made the steps easier. So use your time. I know a lot of people get discouraged when it's like, oh, I had my workshop in January and I don't have an appointment till 9 months out. Use that time effectively and efficiently by working on your information and using the resources such as Diamond Mine Realty to get your paperwork in line, because I see that a lot of mortgage counselors, they're very busy, they have a lot going on, but if they look at a file and they say, wow, you really did your homework, they're going to push for you for sure. They're going to push for you as opposed to someone who has a file, they say they're ready for home ownership, but their file is so incomplete that it doesn't look like they're ready.
Right. So you actually touched base on a lot of things. And Latricia, she had all of her paperwork together. And she was also one of the ones where, I don't know how else to put this, but let's say Naca asked you for the same thing 2 or 3 times. She just gave it to them 2 or 3 times. You made your process a lot easier.
Yes.
By keeping up with all of your paperwork.
Yes.
You also had an excellent counselor who was working with you as well.
Yes, both my counselors, my qualification counselor as well as the mortgage counselor, they were excellent.
Key. She stayed on top of her paperwork. But like I always tell people, actually getting a house and getting qualified is 2 different things now. Because now we have to run numbers to make sure that you qualify for the house. We're running taxes, you're obtaining insurance quotes. Mm-hmm. And a lot of insurance companies, they get mad when you keep calling asking for insurance quotes. And we also had time working against us.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we were able to get it done.
Yes.
So you purchased in Suffolk County.
Yes.
and you had the flat interest rate, which is great. But can you just share what your experiences was? Like, we also had a deal where at one point the seller backed out also.
Yes, the seller backed out. I got that phone call, and honestly, I took it pretty well. I was just like, okay. We were under contract and everything. We were getting ready to be submitted to credit access. I actually had my credit access appointment. He was about to submit me for credit access, and I got the phone call the night before submission that the seller needed to back out. And my whole thing is that I don't want a house where someone is not able to afford. So I made it very easy for them to back out the contract.
And for me, that's a difficult phone call to make, because as we were going through that house checked off a lot of your boxes.
Yes.
But like I always tell people, usually when something happens with the house that they just have to have, a better house comes along.
Absolutely.
Which you received the beautiful split level house.
Yes.
That was a lot bigger than that house.
Yes.
So that was great as well. From signing contracts to the closing table, how was that for you?
From the signing to the closing table, it went very smooth. I had, from credit access, I was credit access approved within 48 hours. I think the main thing they needed to take a look at was the student loan simulator. Once we submitted that, I was credit access approved, went straight into mortgage process, minimal conditions, the regular conditions where you have to show the insurance deck and waiting for the appraisal. The appraisal came back pretty quickly, and I went straight from approved, outstanding conditions to clear to close final. There was no in between.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think that whole process took like 2 or 3 weeks for everything. Like you said, 48 hours for credit access. Your bank application went just as smooth.
Yes.
So, just speaking to everyone out there, you already gave them what they should do as far as their paperwork is concerned. But just give them some words of encouragement of how, once you have your paperwork lined up, how easy the steps can be, especially if you have a mortgage counselor that's working with you as well.
Whatever your mortgage counselor tells you, just listen to them. But if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask questions to your realtor or anyone in terms of anything that you don't know too much about. But at the same time, whatever your mortgage counselor tells you to do, no matter how many times he tells you to do it, no matter if you feel as though you already sent it 5 minutes ago and he's saying he doesn't see it, just send it. You have to send it 5 times. If they call you again and ask you for it, the main thing is that you want to get those keys. So in order to get those keys, you just have to make sure you're on top of your paperwork. You're submitting your pay stubs, your bank statements. What I did was I picked a month. Like, I knew when I called the bank, because it fluctuates. I called the bank and had, for the next 6 months, tell me when my bank statement is going to close. So from there, I knew when my bank statements was going to close. I knew when my credit card statements was going to close. I sat there and I submitted everything all on one go. All the way from credit access until you close. You want to keep that paperwork in order, because once you get to the bank submission process, there's not that much communication going on, because the bank now has your file. So whatever they're looking at, they're either going through the Naca closing department or your mortgage counselor, and there's not that much direct communication to you unless there's any other paperwork that you need. So you have to stay on top of that, because they're constantly looking at your file. And say for an example, you forgot to submit your bank statement. So now your turnaround could be like a week before you see any more movement in your file, just for something as simple as submitting a bank statement.
Exactly. So you heard it here from Latricia, who went from getting qualified within 3 months, even though she had to wait the 9 months for her appointment, and then also signing contracts and getting to the closing table within about 4 weeks. Like, she just went straight from clear to close. She didn't have any conditions because she stayed on top of her paperwork, and there wasn't anything that she had to then go back. And like she said, once everything is submitted, now the underwriters have the final say so. So you must continue to save, and you must continue to submit your paperwork while you're going through the whole Naca process until you get to that closing table. So we are going to wrap up. It was a pleasure having you. We're so grateful that you trusted Diamond Mine Real Estate to help you find your home, especially through Naca. I still think that Naca is like the best deal in town, but you also have to have the stomach for it too. So whenever you do any type of program, not only do you need to be built for it, but you also need to, I guess, give yourself that talk, like, I'm doing a program.
Yes.
And I know that I need to give this time. You know, a lot of people feel that no one can speed through. I read a lot of comments, I'm in the Naca forums, and everyone feel that you're gonna need 2 to 3 years, which you might if your paperwork isn't in order. However, if your paperwork is in order, you can speed through the process, and you can also speed through the closing process, so to speak, as well, as long as you continue to keep your paperwork in order. So I thank you so much for coming out and talking to everyone, giving everyone words of encouragement to make it through the Naca process. And thank you so much for allowing Diamond Mine Real Estate to help you find your dream home.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm happy to give my insight on what was going on as far as like the Naca program is concerned. And most importantly, you want to surround yourself with a good team. If you have a good team such as Diamond Mine Realty, helping me get to the process, someone who knows Naca, who gets the people to the closing table, this is who you want to be on your side and have that good supportive system. Because I still call her to today talking about other different things. Now that I have the Naca home, I want to talk about different other things to continue to build my brand and build my empire. Diamond Mine Realty, they know their stuff.
Well, thank you so much. All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks.